Hello, welcome to episode 1 of The Book Completionist. My name is Tom, and if you're new to the channel, which of course you are since this is the first video, you might be wondering, what is this? Could it be another booktube channel? Yes, of course it is. It's another booktube channel. Because there aren't enough of those already, huh? Well, this one is special, if I might say so, and I'll explain how it's special. But since this is the first video, let me introduce myself. My name is Tom. I'm Dutch, and I live in Bangkok, Thailand. Now, what is this channel about? You see here some nice books. The concept of this channel is that I'm going to reveal book sets as I complete them. This is my hobby. I love reading books, I love having books, and I love collecting book sets. Hence the title, The Book Completionist. I'm trying to complete these book sets that I love, book sets that I had never heard of. And that is a challenge here in Thailand, since this is not an English-speaking country. Bookshops are very rare, especially the ones that I like to go to, because I prefer secondhand books. I'm a book thrifter, if you will. My budget doesn't allow me to just buy new books whenever I want to. And I think it's more fun too. You know, the whole concept of hunting for books would be much too easy if you could just go to a bookshop and buy all the books there, new that is. So the books that I can find are mainly on Facebook. There are a lot of book traders there. And there are a few secondhand bookshops in the city of Bangkok, not that many. I visit those maybe a couple of times a month. There's a library sale twice a year. There is a book expo also twice a year. And yeah, from all those places I'm able to get quite a lot of books anyway. Maybe if there was more, if there were more sources of books, I would probably spend more money getting those too, and it's not really good for my wallet. The genres you will find on this channel will mainly consist of science fiction, fantasy, historical fiction, other types of fiction. But I also like to read history books and other nonfiction works. This is not going to be a channel dedicated to one particular genre. I don't want to limit myself in that way, so you'll find whatever, anything that I think is interesting, I'll make a video about, and hopefully people will watch that. And so yeah, let's go look at the main concepts of this channel. The first part of a video will consist of a book set reveal. Whenever I complete a book set, I will make a video about it. Now, I have already completed some sets. Others are still in progress, but I think I have enough sets already completed to create some videos about. What I'll do is show you the text block of the books, and then I'll give you some clues, some hints about the author of the book, about the genre, about the year of publication, maybe some other details that might give you some idea of what it is. And then, of course, eventually I will reveal what set I am talking about in each video. Okay. The second part of a video will consist of a book review, either one or two or as many as I think should be in a video. And that's just the regular stuff that you'll see on other YouTube channels too. Just talk about what the books are, my opinions, but I try to focus on books that are not as common, that you can find in other channels, perhaps a bit more obscure, a little bit rarer than other stuff, you know. Let's go into the first section of this particular video, the book set reveal. Now, what do I have here? What do I have here? What do I have here? Yes, 4 parts in this series. This is science fiction. This is not very recent. These books were published between 1989 and 1993. The first book was written by one single author. The other 3 books were written with another author. So then they became a team. Okay. The books need to be read in sequence. You can read each book individually. There's an ending and there's a beginning and an ending. But if you were to read part 4 first, you would probably not know what it's about or have no clue what had gone on before. You wouldn't enjoy it. So it's definitely recommended to start with part 1 and then continue until the 4th one. And then it ends. It's ended, right? It's a completed set. No parts are still pending. So what do you guys think? Right. So here's when I then reveal. What are we talking about? Da-da-da. Is that legible? All right, we're talking about the Rama series by Arthur C. Clarke. The first part only by him, and then he got help from another author called Gentry Lee. And together they wrote the other 3 parts. You may notice the first one is pretty slim, and the other 3 are almost triple the size of the first one. So there you go. Now let's look at them a little bit more closely. I'll bring them over to the table and we can see their details. Let's take a closer look at these individual parts of the series. The first one is Rendezvous with Rama. Written in 1973. Published in 1973. But that's okay. It's fine. It's not in great shape, but perfectly readable. Readable, not so much with this one. Here you can still see the outline of the title and the author, Rama 2. And this is where he teamed up with Gentry Lee. It's also a lot thicker than the first one. And they wrote another sequel to that one, which is called The Garden of Rama. Sequel to Rama 2. This one is from 1991. And then finally, the magnificent conclusion to the story of Rama. Rama revealed. Okay, there you go. 4-part set, complete. Okay, so the first review on this channel will be about the book Ascendancies by D.G. Compton. He wrote the book in 1980, and this particular version is from 1985. Why did I choose this? Well, usually when I buy books, buy individual books, based on what I want. However, sometimes I also buy just a whole box of stuff, and I don't really know each book that's in the box. It's kind of a surprise. And this is one of those books that I had not known about before, but whatever. A book's a book. It's science fiction, or at least that's what I thought. And interestingly enough, this book is quite rare in the sense that It has hardly any reviews on Goodreads. That's a website that I love to use to keep track of what I read and what I own. I read a lot, I own a lot, I need to keep track of what I have so I don't buy the same stuff over again. This one had only 14 reviews prior to me reading it, and I actually chose the book based on the rating. I wanted to read the book with the lowest rating that I owned, and this turned out to be that. It got a rating of 2.5 stars out of 5 on Goodreads. Now, not everybody is on Goodreads, so I don't know if that's representative, but I think Goodreads is a popular website, so I'm going to go with the majority opinion, 2.5 stars. Well, I don't care what they say anyway. I mean, I often find that ratings on Goodreads they don't reflect what I often feel about a book. So often when I think a book is great, it turns out the rating is low, and vice versa, often. So, but this one, I have to admit, the 2.5 star rating was pretty decent. I thought that was even generous. No, it wasn't a good book, but it was an interesting read nevertheless. So let me tell you about this book, and I'm going to spoil the plot because I don't think anybody's going to read this. I think you shouldn't read it if you are somehow able to find it, because it's just not good, and you shouldn't waste time reading bad books. Leave that up to me. I'll read the bad books so you don't have to, and I'll tell you about them. Okay, so I'm going to spoil this. If you don't like that, then turn away. But this book, the main premise of the book is that in a near future, the book is from 1980, the near future is only 6 years after that, a strange alien substance is falling out of the sky like snow, not continuously, but on separate occasions in different parts of the world. This substance can be used as a fuel, a high efficiency fuel, much better than fossil fuels. It's clean, it's dependable, so it's great, right? Sounds good. Never mind where it came from, doesn't seem to matter. However, there is a catch. Now, every time when this snow stuff falls down, there also is a sound of like a choir singing. It's unknown where that comes from, but people hear that in isolated parts of a country, right? It's not a very large radius or area where that takes place, but people inside that area can hear singing as if a choir. And also what they can smell is a scent of artificial roses. I suppose that's what the picture is about. But that all sounds fine, you know, who cares about choir singing or a rose smell? But each time this happens, people disappear to nowhere, right? Disappear, really disappear. And that seems to be the cost. The cost of this fuel falling down is people disappearing. And so anytime this happens, people might wonder, okay, is it my turn? Am I going to go next? And that might make people feel, uncertain about their future, naturally. So the story then, that sounds good, right? The story then starts with two people who are living, I think it takes place in Britain. We've got a man, his name is George Wallingford. That name already sounds rather interesting. He works for an insurance company, a life insurance company that needs to verify claims by customers of this company, claims of people deceasing. Is that a word? People dying. Right? When you have a life insurance, the person dies, and your next of kin can claim whatever money is agreed upon in that particular policy. So his job is to verify that there is actually a dead body, because ever since this phenomenon started these disappearances. Yeah, people want to claim their life insurance, even though the person that has disappeared isn't technically dead, right? You know, insurance companies will not accept a claim of a death when the person is gone. There is no way. I mean, technically, you're not dead. You have disappeared. So insurance companies won't pay out anything. So what people do is they find a way to swap or just to replace the person who has disappeared with a dead body, and that dead body seems to come from anywhere. There are services who provide these dead bodies to people who want to claim their life insurance. So this guy, George Wallingford, he needs to visit each customer and check on bodies if they are really the person that the next of kin claim they are, right? Now, he goes into a woman's house. This woman has just lost her husband through such disappearance, but she wants to claim her life insurance, so she has acquired a body, put it in the bedroom, and now this man George is coming over to check. So it becomes clear after some questioning that the body is fake. It's not really her husband. And what happens next is that George starts to blackmail this woman, right? There's a claim of 100,000 money, dollars, pounds, but he says, hey, you know, I know that you're faking it. However, I'm willing to cut the deal with you. How about you give me 40,000? 40,000, you get to get 60. Okay, and that's how it starts. And what follows is just these two people visiting. This guy is visiting the woman a couple of times. He goes to the husband's funeral, and there develops this sort of awkward interest between them. He doesn't like her much. She doesn't like him much. But what the title seems to imply, ascendancies, I had not really heard of this word, but it means sort of dominion or domination over a person. And I think it applies, or it refers to the woman sort of influencing the guy into making a deal with her, because she talks about that she plays the game of ascendancies with him. I'm not sure. It's not really clear what that means. But that's really it. The whole novel is just them meeting each other. And at some point, there's a third person who knows about this body delivery service. And she then approaches the woman. Her name is Caroline Trenchard, another funny name. And a third person approaches Caroline and says, hey, I know you're faking this. I know you're making a deal with the other guy, and I need you to pay me money. If you don't, I'm going to expose you. So then it's like another blackmail going on. George then wants to see this third person. It turns out just to be a young girl who claims also to have been disappeared, or claims to have been gone, but has come back somehow, and she claims that it's all just a fake. She claims that it's all just done by television companies. Some far-fetched story coming from her, but nobody believes her, and eventually she gets taken by some sort of gang members and taken away, and nothing much happens after that. It's just a silly story that tries to be SF, tries to use this concept of alien stuff coming from the sky, people disappearing, which all sounds nice, but that's it. No, it's not. And the bad part is, on the blurb, it specifically says that this is the story of someone who disappeared. Okay, so I usually don't read these because I often find that they give away way too much. And it's a big spoiler. There. So I tend to go into a book blind. I don't want to know what's on the backside. It gives away too much. However, after reading about 40, 50 pages of this, I had no idea what was going on. And I decided to read that because I just needed some sort of reference and what's going on here. And then I read that and I thought, okay, so this is a story of somebody who disappears. So when are they going to disappear? I was waiting for this person, whomever, either one of those two, the woman or the guy, to disappear and then to see what happens to them. Like, do they get teleported to an alien spaceship, planet, dimension, whatever. And lots of options could be there, but none of that happens. No, nobody disappears. So it's a lie. It's a lie. But often these blurbs are not written by the author; they're written by the publisher to hype up the book. In this case, I don't think that that really worked. It made it even worse because I was expecting something that didn't happen, and I ended up reading a story that just sucked. Yeah, sorry, but it sucked. Sorry, one star out of 5. I couldn't give it anything. I mean, the writing is not bad. It's D.G. Compton is not a very famous writer at all, but he can write. It's not for me to say that he can or cannot write. I'm not qualified to make that judgment, but I liked the way he wrote. It's just that the topic matter just didn't do anything, nothing. So that was a bit of a disappointment. Okay, so don't read that book. Moondrift, they call the stuff coming out of the sky. Okay, next. Because I want to end on a positive note, this book, this was a lot better. This one is called Venice Underground by Jeff Vandermeer. You might know him from the, what's the movie? Annihilation. There was a movie based on one of his other works called Annihilation, which I have seen and I enjoyed. I've had it for a long time. I tried to read books that I have the longest first. This one takes place in a so-called dystopian future. Now that's a common trope. In here, we've got Venice Underground. The title refers to the city in which the story takes place in this dystopian future, some couple of hundred years from now. I think 2,600, somewhere there. Cities are self-contained entities that don't connect with anything else. Everything in between cities is a wasteland that nobody wants to go to. But the cities are degenerating into lower levels of technology each year. Like, people don't know how to use technology anymore, and everything is just like, it's dystopian, right? It's just all going to hell. In this city, there are 3 characters, the main characters of this book. It follows these 3. It actually uses their perspective in each part of the book. Like, the first part is about the first character, the second part about the second character, and the last part is about the third character. The first character is called Nick. He's sort of a lowlife. I'm not going to spoil anything. Okay, I want you to read this book. This is a good book. I won't spoil good books because I want you to read those now. But I will tell you some basic information that I think is useful if you start reading this book, because you might not feel drawn in immediately when you read this book, because it's a bit of a slow start. And so the first part is very short, focuses on the first character. He is a lowlife. He tries to find a new job, approaches this gang boss, mafia boss, and then he disappears. He has a sister called Nicola. She notices her brother's disappearance and wants to find him naturally. She's much more successful. She's a programmer and she has a good life. And she goes after him, tries to find clues as to where he could be. And then she disappears too. And then the final part, which is the longest part, is about a guy called Shadrach. He is her former lover, and he also notices both of them being gone, and he goes after her. That's the basic story. guy trying to find his ex-lover. That's all not super special, but the way it goes and the place where it all happens, that is really cool. Along the way, there are biologically engineered animals that can speak. We see all sorts of weird scenarios, weird settings, very descriptive, very cool. Yeah, I love it. I love the way he Jeff Vandermeer describes the city, the different layers. The lower you go, the more depraved it gets, and that really works. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about it. Definitely check it out. Check it out if you can find it. It's from 2003. Not that old, not that thick. Read it in a couple of days. So do that. Okay. I think that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next video. See you later.